So thank you so much for taking time out to join this learning dialogue. This is a part of part of conversations that we have with various learning officers from different organizations. The idea is, when we reach certain levels in the organization, we tend to direct and guide teams more often. And here is an opportunity where we can interact with our industry peers, colleagues, and hear different perspectives and learn from one another. So that the entire purpose of a dialogue like this is number one, networking. Number two, I would say peer learning, because as adults we tend to learn from conversations by sharing perspectives and ideas, and also different implementation plans that each one of us might be following. So there's an opportunity to for all of us to learn from each other. And last but not the least, make a few friends, who we can stay connected with as we go along, right? So we have 90 minutes for this conversation. We will endeavor to close sharp at 7:30, or if we could, maybe a minute or two, a few minutes prior to that, depending on how the conversations go. And before we get started, just call out that we'll do a quick round of introduction. I think Thoral was waiting for that as we got started. Simple, the introduction will be very brief because we don't want to spend a lot of time just introducing ourselves. We just want to make sure that we focus on the topic for the conversation. So please share your name, your role, and the organization that you work for, and the location from where you've logged in, because all of us have logged in from different parts of the country. So, and I'll go last. So we can start with Soumya. Uh, since I see you on top of the screen, Soumya.
Thanks, Anand. Hi, this is Soumya Iyer. I'm logged in from Chennai. So I'm a part of Royal Sundaram General Insurance, and I head the learning development and employee engagement here.
Thank you. Thank you, Soumya.
Thanks, Anand.
Toral, you want to go next?
Sure. Toral Vikamsi. I am the Director Global Learning and Development at Vertical Marketing Private Limited. I take care of 23 regions across all geographies across the world. And right now I'm logging in from Bangalore.
Thank you. Thank you, Toral. Homaz, I can see you next. I think the names changed. I first saw Danish and suddenly I saw Homaz came up.
Wonderful. I hope I'm audible. Right.
Yes, you are.
Wonderful. Hi everyone. I'm Hormuz Bistri. For people who find my name difficult to pronounce, you guys can call me Harry. That's also something that I do go by. I've I I have, or rather, I manage two different organizations. One is a very small consulting firm, that's Sarosh Consulting, and I also am the CEO for the ROI Institute India. We are the India partners for the ROI Institute. It's the global firm or the leading firm when it comes to measurements and evaluations of programs and projects. That's a very brief introduction about me, and today I've logged in from.
Thanks so much for joining. Danish, over to you. If you could introduce yourself, please.
Hi, good evening. I'm Danish. It's pronounced as Danish, not Danish. Uh, I head HR Center of Excellence for ACG capsules, and currently I'm based out of Bombay. And that's where I've logged in from.
Thank you, Danish. I correct myself. Namita.
Hello, I am part of Sandoz, which is a generics and biosimilars company. We recently spun off from Novartis. We were a part of Novartis before. And within the organization, I'm the global director of learning. I'm part of the talent management and learning center of excellence for the organization. And today I'm dialing in from very hot Hyderabad. We're experiencing a heat wave, so excuse if you see sweat on my face.
Thank you, Namita. I think we'll send some rains from Bangalore to Hyderabad.
Yes, yes, please do. Much needed.
Ritu, you want to go next?
Sure, thank you. So, hi everyone, this is Ritu Grover. Most recently, I was with Ketan and Company. It's a law firm, and because I've just taken a very recently I've taken a break, and I was heading knowledge management there. Before that, I was heading KM knowledge management and collaboration for KPMG India. And Namita, it's equally hot here. Delhi is where I'm calling from. So some bit of rains would do here as well. Anand.
Let's hope so. And thank you so much, Ritu. I think Amar Singh ji is a good friend, dear friend of mine. I think he's with Ketan. So,
Right, that's
yeah,
right. Yes. He's
right.
a good friend
Awesome.
too.
Yeah. We'll go next to Amar Pathak. You want to introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, so hi everyone. This is Amar here, and I head talent management and L&D for Viraj Profiles. Viraj is world's leading stainless steel manufacturer. Right now, I have logged in from Tarapur, it's near Mumbai.
That's nice. It's a different location from the normal metros that we talk about. Thanks, Amar, for joining.
Thank you.
Nibu, you want to go next? Nibu Thomas.
Yeah, thanks, Anand. Hi, everyone. My name is Nibu Thomas, and I work with WhatFix. I'm calling in from Bangalore. I'm
Thanks
the
for-
Director of Information Development at WhatFix.
Okay, that's interesting. Thanks. So, Anthony, you're on mute.
Okay. Thanks, Anand. Very good evening to all of you. I'm joining in from Pune, and luckily there are showers in the evening, so nice cool weather. I head HR for Bajaj Housing Finance, and yeah, pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Sir Anthony. Soumya, have we covered you or have we missed you?
Hey, I was the first to go. You saw me
Okay,
first on the
okay.
screen.
Okay. Akriti,
Yes, hi. Good evening, everyone. I am Akriti Agarwal from the hot, city of today's forum, Hyderabad. I have been in the human resources and learning development space for the last 18 years. Currently, I'm heading the learning and development for Innovative Global Solutions. So glad to be a part of the forum.
thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. My name is Anand Bhaskar. I'm the CEO of PGC Consulting. I have logged in from Bangalore. And just to quickly let you know, this is a part of the kind of multiple forums that we actually run. We do this almost every week. We have different forums. We have HR directors and CHROs joining some forums. We have something for learning, chief learning officers. We have it for even talent acquisition professionals, and we have it for CEOs too. So we have different forums. We also run an executive coaches forum where we have professionally certified coaches who also participate and engage in conversations so as to encourage peer learning. So we run all of these forums primarily because it gives us an opportunity to learn, network with people, and keeps us abreast with what's happening around the world. So that's I would honestly say that's a selfish interest because we're hungry for learning all the time. Yeah. So, without further ado, I'll just dive into the topic for the day, which is a very interesting topic because there's so much hype around AI, right? Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence, how it's going to change the world, how it's going to change jobs, how it's going to change lives of people, and so much, stuff going around on AI. And since all of you come from predominantly from the learning background, we do have, a few people who are CHROs and are also heading HR for organizations. So, want to hear your perspective in terms of, is it actually a myth or a reality? So we're trying to examine today in this conversation how much of AI is actually just marketing and a lot of halla gulla, or is it actually really something happening on the ground? So my first question is, in your own experience, have you seen anything, in reality happening with respect to AI in the space of learning? Okay, what will happen in the future is a different scenario. In terms of where we are today, over the last 12 to 18 months with Gen AI and all the stuff, is there something that you have noticed, you have experienced, you've tried out in the real world? Yeah. So my request would be if anybody wants to share, you can just raise your hand. There is a raise hand option available. So the numbers would automatically come up and we can go in sequence. Yes, Amar. You raised your hand really, not virtually.
Well, so
Uh, I work for a very different industry, stainless steel manufacturing, and if you compare with any FMCG or IT or any other industry, use of technology is very minimal. What happened recently? My CFD asked me to assess my quality team on one intervention which we did to develop their career path. We had some management trainees and we had given them intensive training and they are going under mentoring. But somehow he felt that there should be something beyond that. So what next? How we are going to do that? So being a HR guy, it's difficult for me to understand the role of AOD and furnace and induction furnace and all. So, I took the challenge and I used artificial intelligence. I got the questions, I got it vetted from the experts who are managing the show, and they said, yeah, bang on, the questions are really matching our requirement. Then I assessed them using artificial intelligence tools, and I got, after processing the data, I got the individual development plan, their SWOT analysis, and everything as we wanted to have. And the executive director, he told me that we were struggling to find how to present it to chairman, that what will be the way forward. And finally, we got the answer, and we have to do in the same manner. So I was just wondering, if we would have done it manually, this might have taken so much time. You have to get the questions, then answers, then assessment, then final that processing for individual 25, 30 guys, that what are the strengths, weakness, and opportunity area for them, and what will be the next intervention, that is their individual development plan, which happened very easily, very, this was like, बोलते हैं ना मक्खन की तरह हो जाना, that kind of, without any second thought. Generally, I've seen on board meetings that people are fighting that ki, nahi, this is not okay, this should be like this. Uh, CMD is having his own perspective, technical director is having some perspective. But first time I seen that everybody was with me. Amar, you did something. So in that way, we started using artificial intelligence in the area of learning and development. So not only assessment, but content development for preparing career path, their individual development plans. Just now we are end up with PMS and for two raters who are under expectation, we are preparing their development path and all, and we are using artificial intelligence like anything. So this is how things are transforming, at least in my industry. Like to learn from other leaders also how they are doing. All from
That's
me.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Amar. Really interesting perspective. Toral, you want to go next?
So Vertical is a MarTech company. We work on marketing technologies. Our parent company is the world's largest marketing company. It's WPP. The company we are an extension of Ogilvy, which is the most well-known advertising company in the world. So they run campaigns, and we develop technologies that propel these campaigns. They enable these campaigns. So for us, learning and development, and the vertical 2.0 vision is AI centric, right? Therefore, everything that we do now has an element of AI in it. We're developing our own chatbots internally. We're developing solutions that are AI centric. And this also extends into learning and development. So here in learning and development, like Amara said, we do use it, or we see potential of AI in content. Virtual instructors is something that we're working on, where we can provide instant support, and feedback to learners. We were even speaking to our vendor Adobe, because we work on the ALM, Adobe Learning Manager, to have AI integrated into the system so we can have predictive analytics in place. So it's not just content, but how do we use that content? How do we assign content, not just to roles, but to learners based on learner trends, skill, doing a diagnostic analysis. And then we also use AI to, currently we're using it to identify skill gaps, track learning processes and progress. And then also enabling, so this, what we do at Vertical, what we're trying to do at least is enable a more targeted and effective, learning offering. So our initiatives need to be more specific to our learners and to the ask of the organization as well. So everything we do is in tandem with an alignment with the org. Therefore, all our solutions, like I said, the vision is AI centric, and therefore everything we do has that element of artificial intelligence, and it's proven to be extremely effective. Obviously there are tweaks we made, but yeah.
Interesting. Oh, very interesting, I think. So I'm just kind of paraphrasing what I heard from Amar and from you, Torul. See, essentially, there are a lot of tools, whether it is ALM or a learning management system of any company or brand. And there are recommendation engines that have been created by most of these LMSs, which actually recommend courses and content to people based on learning habits, learning preferences, also time that people give, their areas of interest, and so on. A lot of this is machine learning driven, not necessarily AI driven at this stage. Yeah. The difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence is the level of intelligence that is getting added into how the machine is actually going to behave going forward. So it is actually predicting and customizing recommendations to my behavior and mostly also my likes and dislikes, right? To some extent.
But this is AI, Anand. This I'm going to interject here and say, because we work on AI. We develop AI solutions. So we recognize, so whenever we work with a technology or a tool, we do our own due diligence as well. We wouldn't work on it. And we respect ML as well, because we do have those tools as well where we utilize ML back. But then there are, and this is something actually that we're working with Adobe on, predictive analytics, because they themselves are working on integrating AI now. They do work on ML. We are aware of it. But now they're going to the next level because everyone needs it. That's an ask from every industry now, I think, where, efficiency is something that we're asking for, reduced man hours, increased accurateness, I would say accurateness, and something more targeted. And AI helps us do that. At least even we have an assessment platform that we've just got, which is again AI centric, and all our due diligence. And this is not just with Vertical, but this is with Ogilvy. And we're using it also, when I say learning, but also in client success, customers, creating proposals. A lot goes into it. And so we see AI everywhere in our organization, at least,
Awesome. Great. So I think we'll move to Namita, and just one extension I'd like to just put is when we talk about AI tools and deployment of AI in organization, it will be great for the learning of everyone on this call. What are the different tools that you may be experimenting with? Where are the tools that, because some of these tools are at nascent stage of development. They're not very mature yet. So if there are some tools that you're experiencing, showing value or creating value for your organizations, if you could share, all of us would benefit from that learning. Yeah, as we move forward. Namita, over to you.
Sure, definitely, Anand. So coming back to your first question, whether AI is a myth or a reality, I think all of us have the answer now based on the examples that we've heard so far. So it is definitely a reality that's hitting all of us. And believe it or not, it's a Gen Zero skill. All of us are learning it for the first time. Like it's a skill that's new to everybody on earth. And it's an exciting time, I would say, to learn something that's bringing so much more efficiency, based on what Amar shared and based on what Torul shared. It's making us do a lot of more value add work and leaving behind some of the day to day manual labor tasks that we used to do previously in the L&D space, right? So it's definitely a reality. It's definitely something that does cause a lot of excitement, but then obviously because it's a new skill and it's a new domain, there is, this unfamiliarity that most of us have, which also leads to a little bit of fear of, oh, like, the fear of the unknown. Will it impact me in a negative way and things like that? So I have seen, examples of how this has changed L&D space. And, one of the things that I really, highlight is we used to talk about learning in the flow of work previously. And I see that now evolving to growth in the flow of work, with the likes of talent marketplace, where, you don't just focus on your learning, but you look at your career as a whole, and you're able to identify mentors, you're able to identify learning resources, you're even able to take up gigs or projects as stretch assignments, right? Based on when you input your skills or when you identify a potential career path that you might want to take in future. But then in terms of the most recent baby generative AI that all of us have been exposed to, we do see a lot of advancement in some of the old authoring tools that used to be used within the L&D space, right? So a lot of these tools now have inbuilt chat GPTs where you can actually brainstorm and create your courses with them. So I see that as a huge value add, wherein, previously it was us alone kind of, thinking and brainstorming either with the team or with ourselves or doing some research on Google. Whereas now we have a partner on the platform itself where, we tell them, okay, this is the crux. And can you help me, kind of elaborate on it and create something that's more conversational or create a tone which is very academic, all of those stuff. And then, in the most recent time, we also had a Microsoft, suite launching Copilot, right? So it's not just limited to the L&D space anymore. It's much more beyond, right? So it's helping us bring this support. I like to relate to Marvel Iron Man, where he had his Jarvis. So it's almost like having your own personal Jarvis, where you just go and tell them, this is what I need. Can you just draft something for me? And you have that ready in front of you. So yeah.
So that's great. Thanks, Namita, so much for sharing. Harry, since in the interest of time, so Harry, are you around? Can I see you? Yes, I can see you.
Yes,
What do you think,
I am
Harry?
around. So yeah, in terms of what I think, like Navita said, yeah, AI is a reality that we have to live with. We know it's there and it's only going to evolve and get integrated in everything that we do. In terms of where I see it being leveraged with learning and development, I've noticed one of the uh, most integral integrations that's happened in the L&D space is with learning bots. I in my experience with a lot of clients that I have spoken with, I have noticed that they have started integrating learning bots on their LMS or on an internal server platform tool, whatever they would have within their organizations. Now, these learning bots are not just machine learning bots, but these are bots that will give you very specific information about a course or a program that one would have gone through, okay, and helps clarify doubts, helps give guidance in terms of challenges that one would face while they are implementing the learnings from the program. Okay. Another area where I see a lot of integration happen is in the learning analytics space. Okay. A lot of predictive analysis is being done using AI in terms of measuring what's the success of the program going to be. Okay. At the risk of blowing our own trumpet, I would like to say that there is an ROI estimator that we've recently developed. We are just releasing it this week. Okay? That helps you actually gauge and measure what's the impact of a program going to be. Okay? When you even before you start a program, it could help you tell you what's the impact going to be, and it helps you create that design which ensures maximum business impact and high return from the programs. Okay. So these are two areas where I see
AI is starting to make a lot of inroads. Okay? In addition to this, Anand, like you said, okay, there's a lot of machine learning based analytics that used to happen, which is still happening, and there is AI addition starting to happen in those areas, which will tell you what kind of learning paths to take, what's the next recommended course, which is the most liked course, and so on. Okay? And that continues. Okay? But yeah, like I said, chatbots and HR analytics, L&D analytics is where I see a lot of inroads happening with AI and predictive analysis.
Thanks so much, Harry. I think you've triggered now the a couple of thoughts. As Namita had also set the tone, so did Toral and Amar. So if you look at some of the tools that are coming into play now, so we're talking about chatbots, we're talking about intelligent chatbots, which are going to have conversations. Now let me just expand this a little bit as we go to Akriti. Akriti, can you hear us now? We lost you in between.
Yes,
So
yes, Anand. I think my internet is a little wonky, so I'm sorry for that.
no problem. We'll be coming to you. So let me just build on what we've heard so far. We're talking about chatbots, but look at what is happening. Earlier, we used to create a lot of videos for learning. Now there is a tool called invideo.ai, which you can just put text in and it creates a video for you in a jiffy, less than 3 minutes. Right? You can create reels. You can take a long video like what we are recording at this point, and we can cut it into 10 or 11 or 15 reels or shorts in a matter of seconds, because we all discussed over the years in learning, attention spans are very low. People don't have more than 60 seconds to 120 seconds. So how do we give them bite-sized learning? A lot of these concepts we have discussed for many years in L&D space, as things have been evolving in the online learning space. The third is, instructional design. So much time and effort used to be spent on instructional design. What are those AI tools which are actually helping create instructional design content just in a jiffy, just like Gen AI is doing it, at this point. Like if I go on LinkedIn, I want a job description, it comes in a second. I just have to tell AI to create a job description on the title of a role, and it's 90% accurate. I mean, it's pretty good. So I'm just using this as a segue, Akriti, to get to you saying that, okay, what are those kind of tools out there which are kind of, creating this wow factor for us, making learning look simple. We used to take hours and hours doing some of this work. We needed a lot of intelligence in our teams to do some work. Some of these things are getting really, really done fast, and it's not automation. This is really brilliance, by AI tools. So Akriti, over to you.
Thank you so much, Anand. That's a very interesting direction that we are moving towards. So, um, Aptiv is basically a product development company. So you can imagine we have a very strong product engineering team, right? So, of course, a very great marketing team. So the kind of platforms that we have been exploring are really vast. I mean, not only in L&D, but across different departments. Some of the tools that we have been extensively using is one is Copilot. But I would like to talk about a very interesting platform here, which is called Kahoot. I don't know if of course, we are aware of that. So we have recently started exploring Kahoot to create that lost interest in learning among people, right? So we have extensive courses on product, process, project management, etc. So we have converted them into games. We've converted them into quizzes and puzzles. So people look forward to these, 30-minute sessions wherein, approximately 10 to 12 minutes, they'll be playing games, right? So this has been transforming for us, I would say. Uh, Apart from, of course, Copilot, and we've been using Bing, the Chat GPT. So we are also conducting extensive trainings on prompt engineering. So most of our 30, 60, 90s onboarding plans are created by these, starting for freshers to mid experience to senior experienced people. That is what we have been doing. Very interesting in this space.
Lovely, lovely. It's very interesting. I think she's gone. I think you talked about prompt engineering, which is another very interesting skill. In order to use Gen AI, prompting itself there's a lot of programs on prompting as to how to prompt well, in order to get the response that you want. Great, thanks so much. Nibu, I know you've been patiently waiting, Nibu Thomas. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, so I'm not from the L&D field. I don't know if you all noticed. So maybe I'll take a counter view. Okay. I used to work for Bosch, and they had these promotion tests, okay, for operators. They used to basically work on machines, and uh, the test was basically a mathematical problem, right? And there used to be this operator who used to take this test every year, um, and was not able to solve that particular problem, and used to flunk the test, right? So he went to the HR person, and then the HR person put him across to one of the instructors in our training center, and they showed him how the problem is, and he still didn't get it, so he mugged up the problem, right? And he went the next year, and of course the question changed. So, but what this guy did is he wrote down the question he remembered and the answer for that, and he got promoted. So I would say that AI is a tool, right? Whether it is generative AI or AI is not new. It's been there for many years. Uh, so we have to consider it like a tool. Don't look at it like a hammer, right? And you're looking for nails. You have a hammer. You want to see what can I hit with it, right? There are a lot of solutions that you can implement, that you have to implement before you go into the AI. That's the part that I want to make, and I also want to talk about our product, WhatFix. It is a platform that is used to learn in the flow of work. It's used for digital adoption. We One of our personas is learning and development. So we participate in a lot of events where we demonstrate this particular thing, and we're using a lot of AI in our product as well. Yeah, I think I should stop now.
Thanks so much, Nivu. I like the thing that you have a hammer, so you're looking for nails. So we all have to implement AI somewhere by hook or crook. That's not necessary, absolutely. So if you look at the journey that all of us in L&D conferences, meetings, we often keep discussing, when online learning came, everyone said classroom learning is going to be dead. You know, then when classroom online learning became popular, everyone said, okay, this Chrome-based learning is useless. Everything has to be, Coursera's, edX. These are all open learning platforms, and no learning is like on the go and stuff like that. Suddenly then Coursera came up with these month-long programs, where people had to take certifications, and people said, "Hey, this is not going to work." Udemy came in and tried to break the whole thing, saying that what we'll have everyone can create content and everyone can consume content. So this whole concept of producer of content, anybody can be producer, anybody can be consumer of content. So we are all producers and consumers of content. So this whole instructional design, video creations, com-based content, everything went out of the window, right? And everything moved into this whole open learning architecture that we went to. Then suddenly, if you see after that, everyone said, no, these are all very longish programs. We need bite-sized learning. Then after bite-sized learning, people said we need virtual reality. Everyone wants to put this whole mask on top of their eyes and say, I want to see everything virtually, because this is like more exciting. Then someone came up and said, oh, there's now augmented reality. By the time you understood virtual reality, there was a new phrase called augmented reality. And after all of this, now the latest hype is about, AI, so we've all arrived. This is the world of AI. So, so interestingly, so I'll go back, Soumya, I think your hand is up. So where are we actually headed? Saying, all of this is going to coexist, or it's going to replace each other, or this is also another fad, which is just going to die. And, classroom learning, everything is going to remain. Chatbots are chatbot going to replace coaches, executive coaches. So you don't need any executive coach. You can just talk to this chatbot and it will solve all your problems. You have a life coach, out there. So Soumya, just provoking some thought in this group.
So I liked your statement, Anand, learning on the go, and I would like to add to that learning is not only on the go, but it is free. With the kind of platforms that you mentioned. So yes, I think I would probably like how Nivu mentioned, right? I'm still wary of what AI can achieve. While there is a lot of hype around it, as you mentioned, we came from an ML to a VR to an AR and then AI, and God knows what would be the in thing next year. But definitely, I feel it has been super helpful. And from an L&D perspective, as long as you stick to probably managing the transactions through AI, and of course, the analytics part of it, which was earlier not a possibility because L&D was always considered a gray area where it was a little tough to measure the kind of output that you can, derive, or what is the ROI, right? How can you measure the results was not a possibility earlier, which is now possible through your AI-based tools. There is a lot more collaboration that happens, and as a lot of you mentioned, through the chatbots, there is actual conversations, or at least a feel of a conversation wherein you also have a lot of collaborative learning which has come into place. At this stage, while you do have the chatbot coaches, I don't think from a learning perspective it can replace the addition or the value that a human being adds to the overall experience. And as while you will get the right answers, but you may not get the creative answers, or you may not get different points of view, which is what we look for when we interact with all of us, I mean, with each other, right? So, you will get everything right, and probably you will get all the good looking or good feeling responses. But yes, the creativity is something that I believe goes for a toss, because it completely depends on what's the kind of prompting that you're putting, and what's the outcome or what's the response basis the prompts that. And one wrong prompt obviously is an incorrect outcome for you or an incorrect output for you. So you need to be careful around those areas. So there is still a lot more to learn. I think I believe Namita said that it's still a new animal for us. We still trying to figure out what it is all about. So, we are learning, we are making our own mistakes. So yes, I think there's still a long way to go, but I would completely agree. It's a topic that is trending as of now. So everybody would like to be on the bandwagon. We'll see how far it goes.
Time will tell, right, Namita? Soumya, time will tell, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
time will
So,
tell.
yeah. Saintri, you've been patiently waiting. I think after my, provocative points, I think Saintri immediately put her hand up. So
Oh,
something is
yes.
brewing there.
Oh, yes. You know me well, Anand. So, your question when you asked, where are we headed? I think crystal ball gazing is something which is great fun for any of us. And let me attempt doing that a bit. So there is why I'm saying what I'm saying. So I'll cover the why part. Then I'll say what it is going to do, right? That's my idea of what's the change that's going to happen. And the third is where I am apprehensive about this change. So to start with why. Okay. Now, AI, the way we are experiencing it, maybe in the last couple of years, is still very, very nascent, right? And just to understand this entire bit of how AI is transforming, how AI is scaling up, I think the term that gets used all the time is exponential, right? And I personally understood the word exponential only during the COVID time, right? So when we used to talk nonstop, that and really, for us as humans to understand exponential, I'll just give an example. So early days of COVID, if you started with one person carrying the disease, and if it increased 3 times in say 2 days, it would reach to about 1,000 people in 30 days, right? Which was kind of, we all understood, right? Beyond 30 days, you go to 60 days, it goes to 1 million affected people. Beyond 60 days, another 30 days, it goes to 1 billion affected people. And that's called an exponential curve, right? Which I think for any of us to accept and understand, and grasp took some time. And what the AI scientists and the guys who are at the cutting edge of research are saying, the AI tools have exponential growth, right? So if you feed them enough data and enough computing power, the curve is exponential, right? So I see AI completely transforming, perhaps even breaking the way we know learning and HR is going to happen, and in a very short term, maybe in a couple of years, right? Now that was the why. So what? Now on the what piece, I'm quite sanguine. Okay, I'm very optimistic, right? Now, as an HR practitioner, more than a learning practitioner, we've always struggled to figure out that humans are unique, yet our offerings to them are segmented, right? So whether it is segmentation by demography, segmentation by their current career stage, whether it is a learning program, whether it's a career path, everything we give in cohorts, right? And we've tried our level best to filter it down to saying, okay, can I make smaller and smaller cohorts? But we've really struggled to make it absolutely customized to that individual's need, right? So in HR, we know that the segment N is equal to 1, but we have struggled to be able to do that. And I think that's where AI is going to have its largest play. Every employee will have a custom learning path, which is customized to that person's learning style, to that person's ability to learn, to that person's interest to learn, right? It will be customized to what kind of career path that the individual wants in, say, a beautiful marriage with what the organization wants, right? So this entire piece of, humans becoming, therefore, getting a very unique treatment is where I am very optimistic about AI's impact in the entire gamut of HR, and more so in talent management and learning. Where I am very apprehensive is all this data that is being fed into AI is data as is today, right? So all the biases therefore get into it, and I'm sure we've all discussed this and talked about it. But what really stunned me is a podcast that I was listening to some days back, and on that it was told that that AI tools, when the same prompt is used in summers, it gives a longer response. And that same prompt, when you ask in winter, it gives a much shorter response. It's almost as if AI tools are replicating how we humans operate. In summer, we are more active, maybe not the Indian summer, but we are more active. In winters, we tend to hibernate. So I'm very apprehensive that when this scales up to the extent that it can, when it unleashes all its power, what biases will get into the system unchecked is something that I'm very apprehensive about. So that's my longish answer to your question of where we are headed.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. This is very interesting. I think I was, half tempted to actually share a video with you guys, which is a 3-minute video, but I'll just hold back considering the number of hands that are up, because it talks about how, how AI can completely replace the human, the effectiveness of a normal human being using a very using the information that's available on the internet. So at the end of the day, AI can only work on what is available. So Sayanthri, to your point, it depends on what data is being fed, right? So we'll go to Ritu. I think Ritu, your hand has been up for a while. So why don't you share what your perspective is building on this conversation?
Sure, thanks, Anand. Yeah, so I completely agree with Sananta, but she just mentioned about the possibilities. I also feel that AI is really fascinating, and it has changed the world. It is going to change the world even further. There are so many possibilities, and the kind of time you save, is immense, and it's really very, very impressive. Even at this stage, although we know that there are issues about hallucination, or the data is a bit dated and so on. But I see in learning and development, knowledge sharing, collaboration, this has got a huge scope, and it's going to do really well. And AI it's not really that new, right? We've been using it, and it's being used in so many applications for so many years. But it's just that, yes, with Chat GPT, it got hyped maybe 100 times more than it was right earlier. But there are things beyond ChatGPT as well. So I see that the way it can be used for training, the kind of time it's gonna save, it's humongous, and it's that. But it's at the same time, it's not going to completely take away what humans add, the value that humans add, that face-to-face interactions that is something which is irreplaceable. But yes, you can definitely minimize, and through AI tools, you can reach out. So let me tell you, in one of the conferences sometime back, because we were just talking about AR and VR. I remember someone from a tech firm showing that how VR can really help a lot in the health sector. Yeah, a doctor is sitting here, and if there is a requirement, there is some bit of emergency in a far-fetched village you can't reach, but through VR, the doctor can really see everything, and they can really help the patients, help the staff which is there. So yes, this person cannot be, literally cannot be at 10 places, but through VR, they can definitely solve a lot of problems. So again, AI has has so many faces. It's not just only Chat GPT. First of all, there's so much of automation in the background that is done through AI, which is immensely helpful. So everything is getting, not everything shouldn't, and everything should not get data oriented only, but yes, whatever can get data oriented, whatever can be based on data, AI is really, really helpful there. I think the only part of which I see at this moment is, a bit of cost, because the kind of costing is involved when you want to really adapt these kind of tools, when you want to go for it, when you want to create something on your own. For example, I was telling that I was Ketan and Company. It's a law firm. It's a 110 years old law firm. Now we've kind of, you can imagine the kind of knowledge we had in the firm, and then we wanted to really look at all those millions of documents and then use them to formulate some kind of templates now. And that's where we started using ML and AI again. I'm using the term loosely here, but yeah, mostly ML here to make more sense out of the millions of the documents we have. So it's definitely very, very helpful, very, very useful. But yes, at this moment, it's a costly affair, whether you want to go, create your own chat GPT, which we did, internal chat GPT kind of a stuff, so that you get the legit content, and there is lesser or no chance of the tool, hallucinating for that matter. But yes, besides that, I think it can really, really be very, very helpful. So those kind of issues I'm sure, will go away with time. But I don't see AI as, as a fad. It's not gonna go. That's what my in a sense is. It's gonna stay, and it's gonna really make our lives much better, much easier. Learning is so, more useful, more approachable now. I mean, so that's what I feel, that
Great.
AI can really, really help.
Great. Great. Thanks so much, Ritu. I think so. One thing is sorted. It's not a myth, it's reality. So that's what we have all agreed upon, right? At the same. But along with that, I think, as I know, Toral and a couple of people's hands are up. So I'm just changing frame for the last stage of the conversation is, which are the areas in learning and development we see AI impacting our work more actively in the years to come? Besides the efficiency from a tool standpoint, from a recommendation standpoint, some of stuff that we have already spoken about, a lot of work in learning and development is in the area of training, in the area of facilitation, in the area of executive coaching or manager mentoring. There are lots of these career conversations. Some areas could be also counseling. There are lots of things that happen in the learning space that we are, all quite involved in as professionals in this space. And Nibu, you'll have to bear with us listening to all these L&D HR guys in terms of, how we think. So what are those areas, Toral, and you can start first, and then we have a couple of hands up in sequence with Harry and so on, in terms of what are those
So,
areas where you see more application going forward?
so first, I think I'm going to go with where it cannot impact, and those are very few. And then everywhere else. So first is it cannot impact mentorship, human touch, where we need experience, emotional support. It cannot impact extremely complex decision making, be it ethical decision making. It cannot impact leadership development training. Only reason is because that's experience based. So anything where you need experience, based learning, not yet at least, is going to be able to reach that space. However, where it can impact, oh God, I think every area from adaptive learning platforms. And Anand, because you asked for, you said, let me give you some names now. Names such as Newton, Smart Sparrow. These are adaptive platforms that, they adjust in real time to meet learner needs, especially Smart Sparrow. And then we have, AI powered LMS. I've already mentioned it, but Talent LMS is one of them. Some of the stuff tools I can't mention what we use internally only because we have extremely stringent GDPR data policies within the organization, within our entire network of organizations within WPP. But I can tell you from my experience what those are, like learning bots and virtual assistants. It is here to make, like, I'm just going to second what, Ritu said and Sayatani said, it is here to stay. This is here to stay. It's absolutely real. So content creation, even RFPs, we're a marketing company, marketing technology company. Today AI, not just today, for the future, AI also helps us build marketing RFPs. When we go to our clients, it's time efficient. It's just that, it doesn't even take time. It understands, we've fed it enough data for it to understand the business. And this is extremely important. We also have, various VR and AR platforms like Stiver. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but this combines, AR and VR together. And it's again extremely effective. We use NLP tools such as Grammarly. I'm sure everyone is aware of this. And VR and AR is being used first. I'm sure everyone's aware. It was used in the military initially, and it's like Richard said, it's been around for ages, but now we've given it more importance. Totara is WPP's internal LMS, and it is actually very effective in engagement, in creating courses that are learner centric. AI is used for assessments and evaluation, and it is going to be so in the years to come as well. And another thing that we are focusing on is learner experience, right? And we have tools for that as well. So it's an impact everywhere in the learner experience, creating, learner-centric tools, styles, meeting styles of learning. It it has no limits. And the thing is, with our organization, like I said, our focus is this. This is what we work with day in, day out. We have hired, data scientists. We work with AI teams. We've got them on board. WPP's team, I think, accounts for about 80 people. Ogilvy has another 40. We have another 24, 25.
So,
It's a huge team. And the
yeah,
agencies, you know what I mean?
yeah,
WPP's
yeah,
agents, we have 90 plus agencies. And
sure.
this is basically what we're promoting within. And so it's very real, and it is here to stay and expand. And I'm going to use the word exponentially, quote unquote, Saidani here, but it is here. And it
Yeah,
did.
good.
So I've said this in a previous forum, I'm going to say it now. It is no longer us driving. It's only for now we're driving AI, right? But very soon, AI is driving businesses forward. And we are already there. Ogilvy is already there. We are already there. It's not even nascent for us.
Sure,
We were with
sure,
ChatGPT a while back. So for us, it is become more than a reality. It's a way of life right now at work.
sure.
It is generating revenue. So therefore, yeah, there's no limit to it.
Thanks, Saurabh. I think
Thank you.
thank you for that perspective. So, we have 25 minutes to go. So and I can see 6 hands up. So Harry will go to you, but if you keep it brief, then all of us get an opportunity to, express and share a point of view. Thank you,
Sure,
Harry.
sure. Yes, am I audible? Wonderful. Okay. So couple of points that I would like to build on. Yeah. One, like Sanatan said, it's about being wary about the bias that comes into the AI play. Yeah. The other area that I see a lot of organizations worry about, and rightly so, is also about data privacy. Uh, all these AI tools essentially connect to one big server, right? There is no segregation of data that happens, and if it happens, it's at a very limited scale, because the AI only learns based on the inputs that we give them. So there is a lot of concern about how data privacy is being managed and handled. Okay? And because of the concerns that individuals have around data privacy, it essentially starts building in on those areas where you require that trust to be built, where it is at the moment a little difficult for AI penetration to happen. Okay? Uh, like Torul said, okay, mentoring that requires that human touch. It requires that human trust to build up. That's where it's difficult. Counseling, that's where it's difficult. Okay? Uh, Executive coaching, leadership, Torul, I slightly disagree with you there. It's an area where we are already seeing a lot of AI work being built up. Okay? If you look at Marshall Goldsmith has come up with his own AI bot that helps you in the coaching journey as an AI coach that you have with you. So these are some of the areas where we see it building up versus some of the areas where I know that we need to execute caution while we are using AI, and areas where I don't see AI really getting into play even in the future. So I'll keep it short with that, and we can move on.
Thank you so much, Hari. I think very interesting. So, as an executive coach, I need to be concerned. Either I create my own bot, or or I, start finding another job for myself. So great, Namita,
Yes.
you want to go next?
Yeah, and I'll be super brief as well. And Harry, it seems like he read my mind because these were the topics that were really eating me ever since Nibu and Santi. They kind of spoke about how it's like a shiny new hammer and you want to put a nail in the wall everywhere, or you're looking into the crystal ball and you're gazing into the future, but then you also need to be very careful, right? So I think for us, in whatever space we are, it's very important to remember that this is still a highly unregulated space. We don't have guidelines, we don't have any set policies on how to use this. And this really comes into play for global organizations, because I know for a fact that in one of my previous organizations, we wanted to implement something as simple as a learning experience platform. And we couldn't do that at a global scale because in some parts of the world, the work councils are very, very strict on what data are you able to share with an external platform. So, when it comes to building internal solutions, I think where AI can be a huge boon is for focused projects where you have very limited access. But then when it comes to democratizing, that's where, it's a huge, I don't know, it becomes a red flag for a lot of organizations, because democratizing is where you have a high risk of being non-compliant with the global policies. And that's where, I will tweak your question a little, Anand. You said, where do you see L&D using these tools? I would tweak it to say, where should our focus be? And I think that's where I would say that we as L&D should really focus on how do we upskill our organization in ethical usage of these tools that are available. Because if we do that, our associates at least are at a level base of understanding, okay, what to do and what not to do. And then, obviously we save our ass as an organization saying we trained the associate and they did it on their own. So there are two phases of looking at it, but then yes, it's something that we need to be very careful of where we use it, how we use it, and what data feeds into it.
Great, thank you, Namita. I think very interesting perspective building on what Harry said. Essentially, we're talking about data security and data privacy. Privacy, especially when going to Scientini's point. Harry, she's Scientini, just for I think just to make sure her name comes in right. Uh, it's about all these biases are a lot of our own personal data, in some form, our opinions, our views, all of that. And how do these AI tools actually use it? And as long as, like Namita rightly said, as long as they are within the boundaries of an organization and they're restricted and confined within that boundaries, which means limited data, which means limited set of biases, which means limited set of information that can be processed and limited intelligence that can be generated out of it, right? All of that will also make AI or less effective or as effective as it could be with the amount of information it has. So interesting perspective. Soumya, will go to you.
Thanks, Anand. So, where I see AI being used, right, by L&D professionals across is the content part, as you also mentioned, right? What used to be a very challenging, time-consuming process in terms of building content or even videos has now become easier thanks to AI. So, things you can create content in a jiffy. You have access to content worldwide that was, earlier not possible. You can look at content from any language, get it translated via AI, and actually have learning which is more accessible and learning which is probably more engaging to your participants or learners, right? We no longer need to push content. Content is customized. You can hyper personalized, learning basis the learner pace, capability, competencies required. So that's where I believe AI is super helpful. But coming back, to how we've been discussing again, the question is on, the unregulated part of it, the data privacy, and the fact that our biases or our assumptions or thoughts actually become a reality to AI through AI. So there is no checks and balances on what's real and what's not. So what I put in may come with my own set of biases, but somebody else going through it, terms it as a reality. So that's what I think we need to be careful about. So you still, despite the advancements, at the end of it, you still need the human intervention to ensure that you're on the right track, and the kind of data or the output that we've received is actually something that is consumable by your learners.
Great. Well, it's an interesting point. I mean, I was just getting tempted as I was listening. I thought I'll just put a spin in the works for the last 15 minutes is when we're using the word biases so often, right? If you see in the corridors of power in corporate world, we all create biases and we form opinions. When you keep speaking an opinion multiple times, it becomes the view of multiple people. We condition minds of people. We call that influence, strategic influence. We use all fancy words, but fundamentally we keep pushing our agenda in different forms. And we experience that as a coach. I often listen to leaders saying, "Oh, that's a perception. That's not my reality," and so on and so forth. So AI can be game tomorrow. If I'm going to feed AI data, I could start gaming AI. If I start gaming AI effectively within my ecosystem that I'm operating in, could be 80 companies of total that AI could be sharing data amongst. It becomes a typical stereotype, for a WBP or some other company that this is how it would work in this organization. So now look at the complexity that could emerge going forward. As much as we are talking about the sanctity of the data that is being fed to an AI instrument. So I mean, I'm just leaving that thought as I'm going to Akriti. That's why I said I just put a spin for the last 15 minutes. I think Akriti, over to you, and then to Saintani.
Thank you, Anand. So, I would like to share that, there has to be a certain purpose of using this tool, right? So this tool has been created for a certain purpose, and it's important for every organization to identify what is their purpose of utilizing this tool. So I'll give you an example about Vaptip. So we started using online learning platforms and exploring different kinds of platforms over there because we wanted to build a culture of independent learning and continuous learning. Like we wanted learning to be more of a pull strategy rather than the push strategy. So that was the main purpose, right? And in this process, I've also realized, that this tool isn't absolute, right? There are certain benefits to it. Of course, AI learning is great until it becomes contextual. I'll give you an example. If someone is perceived to be, communicating less, you can create a curated learning path, etc. But that will not necessarily defy his innate personality of being a person with few words. Yeah. So any aspect which is multifaceted and requires um, deep human contextual analysis, I think that's where we definitely need a human intervention, where Anand, I think you will come into picture definitely. So I think humans have a purpose of connecting and AI is built for a different purpose. Yeah. So that is one thing I realized in this process. Two areas, Anand, that I have felt that AI can contribute in learning and development. One is precision learning, just like how we have precision surgeries, right? To the point, which can actually increase the decrease the time to productivity. This may accelerate on the job learning and also upskilling on demand. So that is one area that I am really really hopeful about. The second is to converting the learning and development department into a performance based function of the organization, wherein we work like investment bankers and kind of guarantee return on investment for our all our learning investments. So those are my few cents.
Lovely, lovely. That are great thoughts actually. And as I was listening to you, I also looking through the chat window in terms of comments. And Shalini has pointed out that Amar's hand has been up. But Amar, you got the first word, you'll get the last word too. I assure you that we'll definitely hear you right before we close. So we'll move to Sayanthani and and then we'll probably go to Amar. Yeah, Sayanthani.
Quick 3 points, just picking up from pieces that I heard across the room today. So when Thoral mentioned that there are some areas in which we will not have AI, I actually have a different view. I feel there will be no area which will be untouched by AI. So coaching as an example, and Anand, I think this is aimed directly at
Sayanthani, I said as yet.
Okay. No, I'm talking about the future, not today. So,
Yes, I agree with you.
So, as an HR practitioner, whenever we are starting off a coaching engagement, right, one of the things that really worries us is coach-coachee chemistry. Will it fall in place? And I'm just thinking that you have an AI tool where the coach, right, is adapting to the coachee's needs and style. What happens? Then it's a super coach, right, who can coach about anybody, right? So I'm just, for me, the horizon just looks unimaginable at this point. What is it that can change? What is it that can disrupt? To the other point, Anand, that you made, that the data that's getting into AI is becoming so corrupt, right? Because more AI is generating more AI content, which could be complete hallucination as well, which could be complete fluff as well. And that is going again into and as being fed as data into the newer AI tools, right? So actually today there's talk happening that the internet might break because of the massive amount of content that is getting generated very cheaply by generative AI, right? And the third point is, between the virtual and the real, lines are getting completely blurred, right? Today, my 12-year-old son talks more about virtual friends than real friends. And I am really concerned where we are headed, in terms of AI becoming such an integral part of our lives, and for all good reasons. But are we going to become less human, and what makes us human as we go forward? So these are three very linked kind of thoughts that I had from the various ideas being shared today.
Great. Thanks, Anthony. It seems like Anthony has a favorite number three, so she always 3 points, to share. And so far as coaching is concerned, I'd be more than happy to become redundant. I've been made redundant so often, and it gives me an opportunity to reinvent myself once again and figure out. Probably, going by what Thoral is saying, if mentoring is going to be the future, I'll go towards mentoring then. Or that's on a lighter note. But thank you so much, Anthony. And we'll go to Amar. Amar, you may not have the last word because Nibu has raised his hand. Hopefully, if time permits, Nibu will come to you. But over to you, Amar.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. And it was very enriching to hear all these views. And the last one which Shantari just told, I was just remembering one instance recently. My 10-year-old daughter, she was communicating with ChatGPT, and the conversation was very real. She told me that, Papa, you were busy with something, so I started communicating with ChatGPT. And I really enjoyed that. So I was wondering, I had the same kind of feeling, Shantari, that border between reality and virtuality is very blurred nowadays. However, there is a positive note also. If you see at the positivity of this aspect of AI, nowadays people are very self-centric. They don't have time, and somebody is feeling very alone. Then for them, this is very good tool to keep communicating. As far as L&D is concerned, I am very optimistic about the use of L&D in L&D and academics even. Being a research scholar, I personally, I have experimented many things. And AI is my favorite topic. I'm doing my PhD into this topic only. So I found that way forward, this is going to be much more enhanced. All these concerns related with data security and everything will be taken care of whenever something new comes. We human have some sort of uncertainty about success or failure of that particular initiative. So same thing is here. This is very preliminary phase of AI. Like if you talk about Chat GPT, everybody, if you call anybody, if you speak anybody, have you used AI? He or she will tell you that, yes, I'm using Chat GPT. But what is Chat GPT? They don't know the basics. I mean, GPT is what? Chat GPT is just a GPT, but what is GPT? It's a generative pre-transformer, what is the full form? The generative pre-transformer, like that. This is the full form. So there are several GPT. Right. If you explore something related with image generation, something is very content generation, something is for search. So how we are going to use all these things, that depends on us. We have the control, we have the wisdom how to use that. Definitely, this will help us to enhance our roles. This will change the entire, phenomena of learning. And as L&D professionals, this is definitely we are going to make impact out of it. So I think some regulations and all, everything will come, and these grave concerns will be taken care of. But people will enjoy, people will learn, and things will make, this will make things easier in our lives.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. And Nibu, only 2 minutes, last 2 minutes to make sure that we wrap on time. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to make a couple of points, right? So in our discussion about AI and the use of AI, I think we shouldn't forget the learner, right? So I was talking to my daughter, and she is a big user of ChatGPT projects and all. So she was saying, right? So why do they ask me these questions when you have these tools, right? What are you testing me on? You don't need to test me on my memory, because that part is solved, right? So how do we measure the effectiveness of learning? That should change. Now, going back to my the example that I told, right? That operator did not need to do that mathematical problem, right? So our approach on how do we measure things, what is learning, all of that needs to change. That is something that we need to think about. If we're not thinking about this, and we will be hitting nails with the hammer that we have.
Sure. Thanks so much, Nibu. I think we also have Neha on the call, but we've not heard from Neha. So Neha, we don't see you on the video, so my apologies. I just noticed that your name is also there. Would you like to share a perspective quickly before we wrap? I don't, she's on mute. So, okay, so not sure. So fair. So I think interesting conversation. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We have another 5 minutes to go, but I think fundamentally, I think the themes that have emerged is that AI is not a myth, it's a reality. So it's there to stay. A lot of applications seem to be there. Based on Toral, there are a few areas which are not impacted yet, but Sayanthini says that almost every area is likely to get impacted by AI. So all of us, I mean, definitely I'm replaceable. So I have to find another job, which I will. And there's an opportunity for each one of us to learn, how we can actually use AI in a more responsible fashion. I think the theme that is emerging is, it is at a nascent stage. The applications seem to be immense, exponential, as some of you have said, that, it may have a multiplying effect, uh, probably in a compounded manner, much faster than we can even anticipate. So it is absolutely essential for all of us to look at responsible use of this newly acquired power that we are actually going to get bestowed with, right, in a manner that it is responsibly handled. Having said that, we also have to be aware of the risks that it comes with, and I think the confirmation bias risk, or also the fact that we can game it, right? And people can try to game it is going to, in a way, it's going to be an advantage because all of us will continue to be relevant then, because AI will not be always taken as absolute truth, and human intervention will be needed. So probably there's a silver lining to this entire scenario, right? So thank you so much. And one quick word from all of you in terms of, if you could unmute yourself, and one last word towards the end. We still have a minute or two. Any very quick thoughts, one word in terms of, how is this conversation for you, and, how we could actually probably make it better.
It's amazing, and learning from all these learned professionals. Uh, Really, I learned a lot, and so especially Nibu, that hammer and nail, that term which you use. This will keep hammering. And Toral and Shantani, Ritu, everybody.
Thank you, Amar.
Rita, thank you so much. I learned a lot.
But one word, all my request, one word, so that we close on time.
I think it was an absolutely amazing and interesting, topic first, the topic, and then I think the amazing perspectives everyone's brought, respectfully to each and every person. And I want to mention a few, but I'm not going to dismiss the rest. So I'm going to say fabulous insights, that are shared. And Anand, kudos to your moderation, moderating this entire
Thank you,
session.
Toru.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. But I'll still request all, we are all from learning and HR profession. It's very hard for us to restrict ourselves to one word. So Nibu is having the last laugh.
Sorry,
Because
irreplaceable.
So it's
yeah, so
it's
okay, I'll
insightful,
make
I
it
would
three
like to
words.
call it.
I'll make it 3 words.
So
Then I would just want to
irreplaceable
say,
by
Anand, that
AI.
you're okay.
I think for
wanted to
me, the
remind.
word is engaging. It was very engaging.
Thank you so much, Anand. I must say that all of us will have to reinvent ourselves in the age of AI. I think that for me would be the bottom line.
Thank you, Saitri. Ritu, quick word.
As I said, yes, it was very engaging and insightful. Just as people, now it has been said, it is not AI which will take away the jobs. It's the people who know how to use AI might take away the jobs. So
Right.
that's why we have to really upskill ourselves and start using it.
Thank you, Ritu. Akriti, quick last word.
And I would say that it was a very intriguing discussion and extremely well moderated. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Akriti. Nibu, quick one word. We still have just 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think the entire conversation was very eye-opening and insightful. Yeah, thanks so much for the learning.
Thank you. Harry, maybe one word from you. One word. Let's see.
It was fascinating.
Thank you. It was fascinating. Still 4 words. Soumya.
3.
So I'll use 3 words: irreplaceable by AI. Right? This is not a conversation that we could have had with a bot. We actually needed humans to kind of give our own, viewpoints.
Well,
Thank
in
you.
future, you might actually, you never know.
Yeah,
You never know. Like,
you
not
never know.
yet. Like
True.
Toran said, not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet. Yeah.
And Sayantri says, oh,
For
okay,
sure.
you think so? It's going to get replaced. Anand is
But
going to get replaced here too.
I have to say, it is literally not us driving AI. In the future, it's going to be driving us. So either we get on for the ride or we get off. It's just that decision that we need to make. Simple.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for a lovely conversation. I won't take more than, not even a second more. Thank you so much. We are dot on the time, odd time, 7:30, and lovely conversation. And look forward to staying in touch with all of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much,
everyone.
everybody.